live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you
Well,
will
go on
not
then,
have
say it. Say
you
the
will
M.
not have
Go on,
free
say.
speech.
Go on, say the M word. Go on.
No.
Hang on.
Invite. No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say.
I am Savvy Mike, and this is I Am Savvy Mike TV. And apparently, Marc Lamont Hill had a moment with Myron and some other racist chick during a Piers Morgan debate and interview. Now, seeing that this is a debate and interview with Myron and Marc, and they're talking back and forth, we're gonna get the context. What are they talking about? What's going on? And who is this racist white chick that's on the panel? Let's watch, listen, and react.
Look, my take on this is a stain on all their houses, right? I just don't know what is happening to society when you have such vast sums of money being raised for what seems to me to be deliberate, racially charged, motivational reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're fighting ugly with ugly right now, and I think this level of racial...
First thing I would like to say, this is one weird-ass panel. One weird-ass panel, right? You have a red pillar, Myron Gaines, Fit, from Fresh and Fit. Since all Fresh and Fit fans was on my ass, that's Fit. Why would Fresh be Fit? He's not fit. Okay, fuck it. Fuck all that. It's Myron. A crazy man. A crazy brown boy. Okay, you got a crazy brown boy. You have Marc Lamont Hill, a.k.a. Martin Luther King Jr., if he was in this generation. And then you got these two random white women. This is a crazy fucking panel.
Racial tribalism and hostility is just simply not sustainable in such a diverse democracy like America. I think it's, one is really a reaction to the other. I think both campaigns are really hideous, and I think we're showing our ugliest colors. I mean, in the scheme of things, these are small sums relative to the population of America, but you do see, I think, a really tremendous explosion of ugliness and racial hostility that I think that we should all be ashamed and embarrassed of.
Yeah, I mean, you described it, I think, in one of your posts as genuinely, is this a psyop? This would be the best $1 million invested by a foreign adversary to start a race war in America. And I knew exactly what you're getting at, because many of the I think the comments have now been suspended actually on both of these funding pages, because people were quite obviously deliberately misusing them to post race baiting commentary.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go through some of the comments on either of them, you have White Lives Matter on one side, and like suggestions that the teenage boy who was stabbed was somehow like a manifestation of white supremacy, and it seems to be just a fight at a track meet that has nothing to do with racial hostility in the first place. And the poor father of this young man who died too said, please don't make this into a racial issue. And yet on his own Give, Send, Go campaign, there are comments after comment saying this is White Lives Matter, we're avenging against Carmelo Anthony's family. I mean, on all ends, this is ugly. I think that it's really co-opting the charity and giving community. I mean, I feel bad for the fundraising platforms, because I don't think this was the intention originally. But unfortunately, I think that people are really starting to take over good intents and the charity industrial complex to make it into a victim industrial complex, and it's really sad to see.
Well, we're going to have one of the founders of the Give, Send, Go site a little later in the program. But Marc Lamont Hill, you were shaking your head there. I mean, what's your take on this?
There are a couple of things that were said that I think are really interesting and important. One, there is an outside audience of people who are watching all of this and opportunistically using it for their own agendas and projects. You know, I have an investment in believing X, so I'm going to jump in the comments of this GoFundMe, etc. I have an investment in Y, I'm going to do the same thing. But what I don't want to do is compare these two things as if they're opposite sides of the same coin. For me, the intention of the campaign matters. In the case of this woman who is using the N-word, the woman isn't disputing using the N-word. The woman isn't disputing being racist. And the comments that are being left on the site before they were suspended, and the attitudes behind it weren't saying she's being railroaded, she's being misrepresented. They were simply saying, we support racism. And I think that's disgusting, no matter who's doing it. On the other hand, the people who are fundraising for Carmelo Anthony, the argument here isn't, yeah, we did something and we don't care, like the other woman. The argument is, we're being misrepresented here. We're being railroaded. This was a self-defense claim. This is not an act of violence. This isn't first-degree murder. I'm saying what they're saying. This isn't my argument. They're saying this is a first-degree murder claim that is wrong. This is actually self-defense, and we need the money to make sure that we get a fair trial. I think, and so whether you agree with his argument or not, I think raising money for a fair trial is different than raising money for a racist.
I mean, I think the common theme between the two, and this is not to pass any view about it at this stage, although I have strong views about it. I guess the common theme is that both of them say that as a result of all the publicity, they've been doxxed and had all their personal details put everywhere on social media, which is, of course, the modern scourge which gets involved. And that as a result, they've had death threats and they have security issues and they have to move home and so on. You know, I understand that part of the argument. You know, when you're at the center of a firestorm in America and you're not used to public attention, then the levels of intimidation, threats, and so on that can come your way can be extremely intimidating, if not outright dangerous. So it's different, really, to taking a view about either of the cases, to simply say that the commonality is that they both, I think, have said in defending the amounts that have been raised is, well, we have to defend ourselves. Either, as you're putting it, through the courts, but also in his case, the alleged killer, that he has also, I think, had direct threats against him. And in the case of the mother using the M-word in that despicable manner, she has said she's had a lot of threats too.
My quick response to that would just be, let's assume everybody's telling the truth. Let's assume she's telling the truth, and let's assume he's telling the truth. If he's telling the truth and he was doing self-defense, and he's getting harassed and doxxed, and of course we already know lies have been told about his GoFundMe campaign, saying they were spending it on mansions and cars, all the kind of racist tropes. If that's true, he's being mistreated, and I think that's a sort of very easy case to make. When it comes to her, however, let's assume she's also telling the truth, that she used the word, she thinks the kid was acting like one, she feels like she has the right to use that word against that small baby because of whatever age-appropriate thing the kid did. If she's telling the truth and she's getting doxxed and harassed, I don't know if I want to reward her behavior with $500,000. I don't think she should be doxxed. I don't think she should be harassed. I think she has been mistreated to the extent that no one should be. You have a right to be racist. You have a right to free speech in this country. But I'm not donating money for it, and I feel a lot worse about her GoFundMe than the one for the person who's been railroaded.
Yeah. Well, Lily Gaddis, you posted a defense of Shiloh on X. It's been viewed 2.5 million times, in which it was entitled, "White People Are Finally Fighting Back. Stand with Shiloh Hendricks." What did you mean by that?
All right, now, when I hear bullshit like that, I got to let it be known, first and foremost, how can you fight back when you started the fucking fight to begin with?
Here's the thing. White people have been under attack for years. It's been systematic racism. As much as Black people and people of color want to talk about systematic racism in the United States, it's quite the opposite. They get preferential treatment when it comes to getting a job, when it comes to getting into colleges. White people, on the other hand, have been getting attacked relentlessly. Look at 2016 and BLM and all the riots. We just had to sit back and watch people burn down our cities and do nothing about it. So the way to fight back against essentially this anti-white hatred that's been systemically, ingrained in U.S. society is with white unity. We don't see white unity on our side.
Hang on. Okay, but hang on. Sorry,
Piers,
just to be clear.
Piers, stop this.
This has got nothing to do with anything you've just said.
Like nothing.
This is a disgusting race.
Okay, at least okay, because they was on the Joe Budden podcast getting on Pierce's ass. I was thinking Piers was just let her say whatever, and Marc was just in a corner fighting for his life against Myron and whoever this white ghost is. But at the same time, hold up, wait a minute. She brings up BLM riots. That was 2016. That was damn near a decade. Well, one, she was wrong. Hold up, she was wrong. That was in 2020. It wasn't even 2016. What is she talking about? Like, what is she? So one, you can't be wrong and be loud. She's literally being loud and wrong. Like just straight up loud and fucking wrong. Holy shit. Honestly, yeah, if I was Marc Lamont Hill, I would have fuck this. I'm not talking to this. Like, if she really believes what she says, I'm not talking to this chick.
Racist woman who repeatedly spews the N-word, first at a young child and then at the person taking the video of her, does it with complete impunity, does it numerous times. We are talking about a bona fide, unquestionable racist. So I don't understand why what you've just said to me bears any relation to white unity or anything that you've just said. She's just a racist. End, isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about
Well, it is about
people
her.
coming together and supporting another white person. And it doesn't matter.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
No, that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. She is. I mean, would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would.
Mm-hmm. I do quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist, are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, well, if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you? Are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand?
Well, when somebody tells you who they are, you better fucking believe them. Believe them. Oh man. Oh man. I have so many thoughts. Look, I respect Marc Lamont Hill, although I don't want him on the Joe Budden podcast. But moments like this is where he shines. Because at the end of the day, he's the only sane person on the panel. Him and Piers Morgan are only sane people on this. I don't know about the other white chick on the right, like on the far right, but I already know Myron agree with whatever this hoe is saying right now. So moments like this, I got his back. I got you, Mark. I got you, Marc Lamont Hill. Do what you got to do, buddy. Let's keep listening.
Understand that makes you a despicable human being.
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist, and you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
Well, shame on white people for allowing themselves to be systematically discriminated against in the United States. This is our country. This is a country that should be.
What do you mean your country?
Because I'm white and my
What, there are no black people in American history? Is that what you're saying? That they've all just landed in America, invading your white country? Is that your position?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they were brought here technically.
My God, do you understand how dumb you sound?
This is stupid. This is stupid and racist. And at some point, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to reward this kind of disgusting behavior by platforming it?
I don't disagree, Mark. Listen, I didn't know she was going to say that. I don't disagree with you.
No. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't think you knew ahead of time. I'm saying at this moment, someone who's saying it's technically black people brought up. No, technically, Africans were stolen, enslaved, and they built this country. And the idea that you can justify calling a baby the N-word by saying that white people are losing the country is absurd. It's morally bankrupt, and it's honestly besides the point. I mean, all these are just distractions from the fact that she wants to justify dehumanizing and even animalizing a small black child. It's disgusting.
What is it?
Yeah,
I find
I never
it.
said that. I never said that.
No, but you may as well have done because you're just an unashamed,
That's the implication of
proud
your- that's the
racist. Let me
implication
bring
of
in
your
Myron Gaines because you've been smirking and laughing. What's funny about any of this?
Well, I mean, I find it interesting that you guys want to virtue signal and, wag the finger and say she's a racist and everything else like this.
No,
but I
she
find it
admitted she's a racist.
Well, let me
I'm not
finish my
wagging a
point.
finger at anybody.
She
I don't need to
self-identified as a racist. She
But
said, "I
Myron,
am a
with
racist."
respect, Myron, I don't need to
Because-
wag a finger when somebody says, "Yeah, I'm racist. I use the N word against black people. I don't care." That's a racist. I'm
everyone
not
isn't
wagging
gonna
any
be-
finger. I'm not accusing anybody. She is admitting it proudly. Even
Here's the
you
thing.
can't defend that, surely.
Everybody is racist to some degree. The reality is, it depends on. A lot of people want to be politically correct. A lot of people want to sit there and say, "I'm not racist at all." We all have biases. We all have stereotypes. We all make jokes. We all are racist to some degree. Now, how racist you are is a whole other situation. But everyone is racist. That's number one. Next thing I want to say, see, I think this Shiloh Hendricks and Metcalf situation is a microcosm of a much bigger problem, and that bigger problem is what I call systemic organized. And what I mean by this is for decades, we've had black people literally running around with black supremacy, committing crimes, not getting accountability for their actions, and then they blame the system for it. For example, George Floyd, criminal. Ferguson, criminals. Freddie Gray, criminal. A lot of these people are criminals, and what ends up happening is they challenge the police officer, they get into a physical altercation, things go left, they die, something happens, use of force is utilized, and then they want to cry about the result. When in reality, it's not the police killing black people, it's black people killing black people. And if you want to talk about black on white violence, black people kill white people 2 times as much. And on top of that, most of the shootings in America, a lot of the times, are white cops killing other unarmed white men. So this whole systemic racism or police brutality or, oh, it's all so messed up. The reality is this. Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist with impunity. They're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. And quite frankly, white America's had enough of it, and the chickens have come to roost. Now, look, am I saying that's awesome? Am I saying that's great? No, but for literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Right, but just to be clear, you would have no problem with one member of this panel openly saying she uses the N word at black people with impunity and is proud of being a racist. You have no problem with that?
My worldview on the protection of the First Amendment and freedom of speech overrides my personal feelings. She has the right to say
That's
it.
fine.
and
You can support the First Amendment, but you can also have a personal view about what she said.
My feelings are irrelevant. The Constitution is the Constitution. That's what matters.
Oh, that's
And I'll-
fascinating. Hold on. So when it comes to chastising black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims about the racist system, you can levy a judgment against black Americans for all the things they do. But when it comes to this woman saying the N-word, and this other woman endorsing it and saying that she herself uses the N-word, now all of a sudden we can only talk about the Constitution and the legal right. We can't offer any moral judgment against it. That's disingenuous. And it's as the only black American up here, that's quite frustrating to hear.
Here's the thing. If you want to be soft and get offended by that, that's your fucking problem, not mine.
Let me
So
ask
this
Ricky.
isn't about.
We're not even.
Let me
This
ask
isn't about-
Ricky. Ricky,
this,
I want
this
to.
isn't about being soft any more than when you were desperately
Actually, you know what? As a
saving
matter of fact,
these white people.
Hold on. This sensitive nature that you have is precisely why we have this problem.
It's not about being sensitive. It's about I didn't articulate. Hold on. Let me finish, Myron. Let me speak and then I'll let you respond. Myron, I didn't articulate any sensitivity here. What I said, in the same way that you levied a judgment against black people, I'm levying one against the claims you're making. I'm no more sensitive than you were when you made your claim. I'm simply saying I disagree with you. And to immediately jump to you're being sensitive is just a distraction. I'm making an argument here. Just respond to my argument.
No, my argument to respond to that is this. Political correctness, liberalism, and making sure that we are politically correct and don't use certain words to offend people is precisely why we're in the situation that we're in. For decades, we've had to literally tiptoe around saying certain things around certain people, while the other group of people has been able to have impunity and be able to be as racist as they want to be, as violent as they want to be, without any type of consequence. And if you call it out, you're labeled a racist. The reality is this. Black people don't want to live around black people. I don't want to live around a bunch of black people. I move to neighborhoods where it's majority white because I know I'm safe. Now, this is uncomfortable reality that no one wants to say, so I'll say it for them. Black people commit a lot of crimes. A majority of the violent crime committed in the United States is committed by a small percentage of people, and they tend to be black men. Look, The reality is the reality. People don't want to say it, but the political correctness and being nice and not wanting to tell the truth is precisely this problem. And the reason why you're seeing all the support for Metcalf and Shiloh, etc., is because white people have not been able to step up and say what they want to say for a very long time because of what I said before, systemic, organized, where they don't take accountability for their decisions.
Let me bring in
Okay, wait, hold up. Before we'll continue this, I want to interject. Mark should be able to respond. Hopefully, we get to hear his response. But I want to fucking interject because Myron's basically trying to say just because free speech is a thing, and in the Constitution, it gives her the right to say nigga. Okay, contextually, sure. Logically, yeah, but that doesn't make it right. That's what's being argued right now. That's the point that's being argued. Nobody's arguing the Constitution with you. Nobody's arguing freedom of speech with you. And black people, we keep it fair. She's being racist. Kanye West is being racist. Like, whether it's black, white, we gonna keep it how it is. Regardless of it, when a person tells you who they are, Myron, you should believe them. And you trying to make an argument, like we said, he is rage baiting. I might do a video on the Joe Budden podcast talking about this because he's definitely rage baiting. I think I said that because either I'm gonna choose to believe that he doesn't believe this, or he does believe what he's saying. And he thinks that it's okay for white people to say nigga. It's not okay. It's not. It's not. Because it's not, you saying nigga isn't you fighting back. Because you started, not even you, the generation before you, the generations before you started the fight. They started the fight. That's us fight. Us saying nigga is us fighting back. Not the other way around. You can't flip it. You can't flip it and make it convenient for your bullshit. Freedom of speech. It's freedom of, I have the freedom of speech to say what okay, you got the freedom of speech to say what you want to, but you also got the freedom to get your ass beat too.
So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there, bold as brass, and said, yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that you know causes that community unbelievable
offense.
Is that my fault?
It's not a preference when it's hate. That's the whole point. It's not a preference when it's fucking hate. When you're spewing hate. You can prefer whatever you want to fucking prefer. You could prefer not to want to be around other white people for all I fucking care. But when you're spewing hate and giving hate-filled speech and rants, then yeah, that's racist. That's not a preference.
Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
That's mind-boggling to me for multiple reasons. I mean, we're talking about bad behavior. You know, we've never lynched you, we've never enslaved you, we've never done any of the deep-seated structural forms of injustice to white people that white people have done to black people, and yet to claim some kind of moral superiority in the midst of, and again, in the context of a conversation where a white woman is calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we're talking about black people's bad behavior. This is absurd. And the idea of fighting fire with fire, again, is a dishonest argument. Just to take us back to the point here, The people who are supporting Carmelo Anthony's campaign believe that he was wrongfully charged and they're trying to get him legal defense. The people who are defending this woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same thing. And it's bonkers to me that we couldn't all stand and say, hey, it is wrong to call a 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word. I mean, Myron, let me just ask you that question. I think this is a yes or no question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think the woman was wrong to do what she did to that child in that park?
I don't approve of that. But what I will say is that it's very important to understand the entire context of what led us to this position. Because again, Metcalf and Hendricks is a microcosm of a much larger problem. Earlier, we were talking about tribalism when you were mentioning Nick Fuentes' tweet. Here's the thing. Black people could be as tribal as they want to be. You have people like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people assemble and say, you know what, white power, we need to keep our nation white, they're immediately ostracized and labeled as supremacists, and they get banned off every single platform. I find that.
No, because when you're saying white power, it's hate filled. It's not no peace around it. It's not, look, we're just coming together because we need to be together as a community and we need to look out for each other. They already do that. They already make sure they do that. They already make sure they look out for each other. So it's no point in coming together and being racist and saying, yeah, I'm white. And I'm black and I love it. You're white and you love it. You're Asian and you love it. You're Middle Eastern and you love it. You're Hispanic and you love it. It's cool. It's cool. We should all just love ourselves. And that should just be the end of it. But being hateful towards other people because you feel like you need to take the power back is just odd. It's just odd. And it's idiotic.
And interesting. And matter of fact, you went ahead.
It's not the same thing.
No, actually, it is the same thing. Because here's the problem with black people.
No,
you
it's not.
Hold on, let me finish this. Black people practice the very racism they cry about. You guys can gather together and say Black Lives Matter, Black Power, but if white people get together and say white power and gather together, they're considered white supremacists and they get banned off every single platform. Why is that Jared Taylor and Nick Fuentes are banned off every platform for practicing white nationalism, but black people are allowed to stand every single platform getting interviews?
They're not practicing white nationalism. Look, it is a difference between being what you're talking about, Myron, patriotic. It is a difference between having pride in your country and being patriotic than being a racist. Those are two different things. Two different things. It's a different being prideful black man and being proud that you're a black person and want other people to be proud that they're black and date within the black. Like, that's different than black people coming together and saying, fuck the, like, think about it. Nobody black is ganging up with Kanye right now. Nobody. Nobody. Because hate can't fight hate. You can't fight hate with hate. It just never works out. It only leads to war. That's all it leads to. And death. That's it. So nobody's saying you can't be patriotic. Please be patriotic. I celebrate the 4th of July too. But don't be a racist.
On a Breakfast Club. Explain that to me. There's a 2-tier situation here where black people are able to benefit off of being racist while whites are not. And what we're dealing with right now in America is literally a backlash to this black supremacy has been able to run around unchecked for a long time, and no one has the balls to call it out. Here's the other thing I want to say. Everyone's flipping out over Shiloh Hendricks is saying the N-word.
Hey, can I respond to the point you just made, though?
No, hold on. Nobody flipped out like this when the United States was getting destroyed in 2020 because of black protests destroying every liberal city in America. So I don't want to hear it about, she made $500,000 because she said the N-word. Who cares? They destroyed billions of dollars of structure because someone got killed who was a criminal. That's the problem in America. You guys get a privilege that no one else gets to enjoy. You could be racist.
Okay.
And
all right, I have to hang on. I've got to hold.
What privilege do we get if we're getting killed in the fucking street? What privilege do we get? A white woman is getting donated thousands of dollars because she called a 5-year-old black kid nigga. And you want to equate that to the George Floyd protest? Are we fucking serious right now? Like, are we dead ass? I understand that they believe what they're saying. But then again, I truly don't think Myron believes what he's saying. Like, this is nothing but rage bait. This is nothing but rage bait. It's so much logic to decipher everything that he's saying and all the bullshit that he's spewing, but he doesn't want to acknowledge it. He doesn't want to allow it to process in his brain that, hey, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be saying. Like, no. It's like, no. If it's not what I'm supposed to be saying, then I'm going to fucking say it. There's no filter. No filter in his fucking head.
The thing with tribalism, it's a natural human instinct. Like, we are literally designed to want to be in communities and want to be a part of a set of community because it ensures our survival. It's been that way since the beginning of time. So the thing is that people are typically going to align with people that share similar features. And that's why we have the tribalism we have going on right now. So the problem is it's not going to go anywhere. I think the problem is that we've had this penting up for literally decades, and this has been a response to it. You have people that are coming out and supporting someone who you guys might deem as a terrible racist, but I think it's also very important to understand how we got here, because if we're going to look at the smaller problem, we can't look at the bigger problem, and it's what I said before, unchecked systemic.
All right, Mark Lamont Hill, your last words on this.
This repeated use of the word, I think, first of all, I want to just register that as offensive. Particularly someone who doesn't identify as a member of that community and who is not, right? I think that's incredibly
I'm the definition of African American. I'm the definition of African American.
And troublesome. And to as a Sudanese American or an outsider who's using African American in a very technical term, the same way that Elon Musk is an African American, I think it is a bit disingenuous. But the bigger issue here, I think, is that, you know, this idea of equating of one side to the other side often loses track of this issue of power. To use his example, when Black people stand up and say, hey, let's build our own stuff. Hey, let's have a Black power movement. That is not the same as a white power. I'll let you speak uninterrupted. Let me finish, please, my Sudanese brother. So when a Black person says, hey, let's preserve our culture, I have no problem with Italians or Irish people or anyone else saying, let's preserve our culture. But when we don't talk about ethnicity, but actual race, and when white people say, let's preserve whiteness, it's an exclusionary practice. It's about preserving laws and practices and tactics that do harm to other people. A Black power movement was about opening stores and building businesses. A white power movement was a white power. That's the giga. A white power movement was about something very, 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 very different. A white power movement included lynchings and included Ku Klux Klan, etc. So let's not pretend that these are opposite sides of the same coin. When white people say, let's save our country, and even using the language of our country, when Black people built this thing, when you say that, you're talking about forcing people out of the country. You're talking about laws that discriminate. You're talking about doing harm to people. Let's not pretend these are the same thing, just like these GoFundMe campaigns are not the same thing. I'm okay if everybody gets out of the GoFundMe industrial complex. I'd love that. But let's not pretend that supporting someone for a fair trial is the same thing as supporting a grown white woman berating and calling the N-word to a 5-year-old autistic Black child. And the fact that everyone in here can't be unanimous in condemning that says exactly how they're not the same.
I totally agree. I'm going to go to Lily Gaddis and just ask you one more time. I mean, you've been so unashamedly proud of being a racist today, proud of using the N-word whenever you feel like it. You've had a bit of time to think about this. Is that how you want people to leave this panel debate, with thinking of you as a disgusting racist?
I don't really care what people think about me. As long as you care about what people think about you, you have no power and you lose your country. What I care about is freedom of speech. And if you're not allowed to say the most offensive things in this country, you do not have freedom of speech. I don't care what anybody says. So that's the main crux of this situation. That's what I care about with this situation. It is, we have lived for far too long in a country where you can have your life destroyed. And people say, oh, she doesn't need this money. Her life's destroyed, by the way. She'll never be able to get another job. She's got children to have to support. And I don't want to live in a country where you can say an inappropriate, rude thing, which, by the way, Black people can say things to white people all the time and they never get canceled. There's no backlashing about this. I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly. And you will
well, go
not
on, then
have
say it. Say
you
the
will
M-
not have
Go on,
free
go on. Say the N-word. Go on.
No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me, because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here, one Uncle Tom on the left here, and asking her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Piers. I understand what you're trying to do, but we already know she's racist, and I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I hear you, and I accept that, and we'll leave it there.
Dark Lamont Hill crashed out. Rightfully so. Rightfully fucking so. Now, Piers was being messy by inviting her to do it because he's like, look, if you just want to openly be an idiot, then I'm just going to openly allow it. But of course, that's what Marc Lamont Hill is saying. Is like, yeah, you can invite her to do that, but you're not black. Like, this isn't going to, if I let her do this on this panel, I'm going to even look stupid for even still sitting here and entertaining this bullshit. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and then Myron put up a gun with the word nigga on it. Like I said, I hate niggas like that. I hate niggas like Myron. Myron, niggas like Myron are the fucking bottom feeders of the earth. And all they do is say things to make you upset and mad. And if you call that real, if you call that authentic, then hey, that's just your cup of tea. It ain't mine. I'm sorry. I'm not taking the red pill nor the blue pill. I'm walking home. Fuck them pills. Because all them pills got y'all minds fucking twerked and warped into some bullshit that you can delusionally think what you're saying makes any fucking sense. Oh yeah, it's okay for white people to come together and white power this and hang niggas and segregate communities. That's fine. That's okay. They should have every right to do that. You're saying that until, if that does ever happen again, you guess what, Myron? You gonna be a nigga just like me and Mark. you gonna be in the same group with us. Piers and them gonna be fine. We gonna have to deal with some shit. So watch what you say and ask for, because you just might fucking get it, and then you're not gonna like the results because it's not gonna turn out how you think it should. Or you're going to think, well, maybe if I house slave Uncle Tom Coon and kiss ass, and I'll be able to get what they have. And yeah, they'll throw you pennies, but they won't ever take you to the mansion. Anyways. Oh my gosh, this was one of them ones. This is one of them ones. This was crazy. I am Savvy Mike, and this is I Am Savvy Mike TV, where it is okay to be patriotic, but it's not okay to be racist. Peace.